Hi, it's Aunt Michelle. Here I am in my art studio making some fun crafts and doing some fun art stuff. Before I read you a book, I wanted to show you outside because this is very rare. Here in Texas, where we are, it hardly ever snows. But guess what? Look what's out there. It snowed last night. That never happens. Can you believe it? But it did last night. And before I sit down, I want to show you a portrait that was painted of Nana when Nana was a teenager. When Nana was a teenager in 1960, they hired a charcoal artist to draw Nana. And here is what she looked like. She didn't really smile. They didn't really smile back then in photos, but here she is. That's what Nana looked like when she was young. Yeah. Oh, who's this little guy here? Oh, that's Will. Yeah, that's you. Okay. Well, I am going to sit down and read for you. And because Valentine's Day is coming up, I thought that I would read, let me move my stuff here. Thought that I would read this book called The Story of Valentine's Day. And this is going to explain how or why we celebrate Valentine's Day. All right, so get cozy because this is a long book. Even though it doesn't look like it, it's very wordy, which I'm happy to read for you. So get comfortable, get something to drink, get a blanket, and here we go. The Story of Valentine's Day. Red and pink hearts, flowers and chocolates, cupids and doves, cards and letters with sweet or silly sayings written on them all. These things mean it's Valentine's Day. Valentine's Day is celebrated every year on February 14th. It's a day where we give small gifts of love and friendship to someone special. These gifts are called Valentines. But how did February 14th come to be a day to think about love? Nobody knows for sure. Valentine's Day is one of the oldest and most mysterious holidays. Ooh, mysterious. All right, let's flip the page. More than 2,000 years ago, a holiday similar to Valentine's Day was celebrated in Rome. But in those times, the Romans did not call it Valentine's Day. They called the holiday Lupercalia. Lupercalia means Feast of Lupercus. The early Romans believed that a god named Lupercus protected them from wolves and looked after their crops and animals. They honored Lupercus by singing and dancing and feasting. Lupercalia came later in the Roman calendar than our Valentine's Day does. So, Lupercalia was also a festival to celebrate the beginning of spring. Look at that. So they thought that there was a god named Lupercus, and he protected them from wolves. So they celebrated with Lupercalia. I never heard that before. On the night before Lupercalia, girls would write their names on pieces of paper and place them in an urn. See the urn there? It's like a jar. Boys would take turns drawing names. The girl whose name they chose would be their partner for all the games and dances. Often, the pair would become engaged to be married at the end of the festivities. The romantic custom reminds us a bit of Valentine's Day today. For hundreds of years, the Romans celebrated Lupercalia, but after the Christian religion came to Rome, many Romans no longer believed in such gods as Lupercus. Still, people loved celebrating Lupercalia and did not want to give it up. So the church decided to use the holiday to honor a priest. They renamed the holiday St. Valentine's Day and celebrated it on February 14th. That's when we still celebrate it today. Legend has it that on this holiday was named after a Christian priest who lived in Rome almost 2,000 years ago. Oh my gosh. Church records show there were actually several priests named Valentine living back then. According to one story, Valentine was arrested. Oh boy, now it's getting juicy. Valentine was arrested because he refused to pray to the Roman gods. In prison, Valentine became friends with the prison guard and his blind daughter. Oh, that was nice. Finally, after many years, the priest was called before the Roman Emperor Claudius, or Claudius the Cruel. Dun, dun, dun. Claudius told the priest he would be set free if he gave up his religion. Valentine refused and even tried to convince Claudius to become a Christian, to believe in God. Claudius the Cruel flew into a rage and ordered the priest beheaded. Uh-oh, I know what that means. Beheaded. That means off with your head. Chop your head off. But before he was taken away, Valentine asked the prison guard, who was his friend, to give a note to his blind daughter. As soon as the girl opened the note, her sight was miraculously restored. Oh my God. And she was able to read what was written on the piece of paper. It said, "From your Valentine." Oh my God. She could read. That's crazy. That's a miracle. Oh my God, that's a miracle. Another story tells how a priest named Valentine disobeyed the Roman law in the name of love. Claudius the Cruel forbid young couples to marry because he wanted the young men to go fight in the army and the women to stay behind. Valentine broke the law, and under bridges, he would be the brave priest known for marrying people in secret. Celebrations of Valentine's Day spread to other countries. During the Middle Ages in the 1300s and the 1400s, people in England believed that birds returned to the south to choose their mates around February 14th. So Valentine's Day seemed like a perfect time to choose a sweetheart. During those Middle Ages in the 13 and 1400s, it was a children's holiday where kids would go around door to door and throw flowers and pennies. And adults would give children sweet treats like cinnamon buns. In Italy, young men and women gathered together on Valentine's Day. In France, they had fancy balls, and the French men would present women with flowers. The very first Valentine was written at this time, about 400 years ago. In France, he wrote a letter that said, "Wilt thou be mine? Dear love, reply, sweetly consent or else deny. Whisper softly, none shall know. Will thou be mine, love? Aye or no?" I was another word for yes. He's asking her, do you love me? Yes or no? In the early 1800s, people began to decorate their Valentine's cards with satin ribbons and lace. Although people still gave flowers and candies and jewelry, Victorian Valentines became a favorite way to express feelings of love. Early Americans that settled in America did not celebrate Valentine's Day. Many of these pioneers were too busy struggling to survive, but they did catch on after several years. What would happen is the notes started to use something called pinprick style, where people would use sewing needles to poke holes into paper in the decoration of hearts. Valentine's Day is still celebrated in many, many countries and is very popular in the United States. Bakeries fill their shelves with heart-shaped cookies and cakes, and it's still the most popular day to get married. In the classroom, and Will, you might do this in your classroom, kids have parties and decorations, and they create a box that is decorated, and they give out Valentine's cards to their classmates. So think about this year, and what will your Valentine look like? Start thinking about how you're going to decorate your sheet of paper. And then on the back, oh, this is cute. There's a recipe for Valentine's cookies. I love that. Well, I hope you enjoyed this book, and now you're going to be the smartest one in your class. Actually, probably smarter than the teacher, smarter than the principal, because now you know the story of Valentine's Day. Have a great day, and remember, Aunt Michelle loves you.